Are you ready then, Janelle?
Yep.
Okay, then we'll call the Plan Commission meeting to order on Tuesday, April 28th, 2020 at 5 p.m. Would everybody please turn off their phones or turn them on to silent? And would you please take roll call, Janelle?
Bertle,
Here.
Baker,
Here.
Hartwig,
Here.
Shumway,
Here.
and Gretzmacher.
Here.
And Bell, we don't know if he's coming or not.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
So
Motion by Gretzmacher, second by Shumway. All those in favor respond with an aye.
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 Opposed? Carried. Is there a motion to approve the minutes as published? Did we have two sets in there?
Yeah, there are.
Okay,
March
let's,
24th and April 15th.
I'm sorry, what, Janelle?
There's March 24th and April 15th.
Okay, let's do March 24th first.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Baker. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, second by Shumway. All those in favor respond with an aye.
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 I abstained because I wasn't there.
Okay. Did we still carry then with our quorum?
Yeah, you're fine.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
We did.
All right. And then I would entertain a motion for the minutes of April 14th as presented.
I so move.
Motion by Gretzmacher,
Second.
second by Baker. All those in favor respond with an aye.
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 Opposed? Carried. Comments, correspondence, and concerns from the public. Janelle or Bo, did you receive anything?
I did not.
I didn't either.
Okay, is there anybody that's online with us that would like to address the Plan Commission about a non-agenda issue? Okay.
Does not look like it.
All right, we will go on to item number 1. Discussion regarding the signage which will be allowed for the Door Hotel, which is located on what is commonly referred to as the Sister Bay Marketplace property and has been assigned addresses of 10654 North Bay Shore Drive and 2335 Mill Road and 2329 Mill Road. Go, Bo.
Okay. So I do want to start with apologizing that there's no reports going on right now. With all of the meetings going on in the work on staff's case right now, I just haven't had time to get those done. Hopefully that'll get addressed soon, though, now that we've gotten some off of our plate. So just bear with me. I'm going to do some verbal descriptions for these agenda items. And if you have any questions, just feel free to ask. So for the Door Hotel, the developer, Chris Schmeltz, he emailed the village staff in regards to some questions for signs for the Door Hotel development project. And basically in his email, he had three essential questions, and Chris is on here to help bring this along too if needed. Basically, he was trying to determine before he went ahead and got the signs created and paid for, what the village would allow and not allow as far as this project and the signs that would be required. His first question would be regarding a building sign placement and size, as well as the sign on Mill Road, because the address is on Mill Road and that's where the parking will be entering from. So he would be looking to do an additional sign there, as well as some notifications that there's parking for CHOP as well in that parking lot. And then the third one being a future sign on the Bayshore retail development that's going to be flagging with the Door Hotel in the future. So all in all, he wants to know what the village's perspective would be on how much signage is allowed for this project, as it's a PUD and it's rather large in size for a village development. So the code isn't specific or clear on that. We wanted to bring this to Plan Commission to make sure Plan Commission gets to say on what the signage will be allowed before he continues. With that being said, staff does have a recommendation here for the Plan Commission to discuss. And that would be to allow a total square footage of 93.6 square feet for all signage. So that would be combining all the sizes of the signs that would be needed for this project and not to exceed 93.6 square feet.
Is that for retail and the hotel?
Is that divided by 3?
Size,
Bo
which-
feed jammed.
What's that?
I said your feed jammed.
Nope.
But it's better now.
Okay.
Was that for the Door Hotel and the retail, or just
Is
the
that correct?
hotel?
No, this would be for the Door Hotel and the retail. That whatever signs that they would require, both of them would have to fall under one sign count. So it would all have to fall under 93.6 square feet.
And how did you determine that?
Based off of the width of the building from the front facade, it was over 200 feet. And on the zoning code, it does state a multiplier of buildings over 200 feet from width of the face. With the multiplier, I don't have the zoning code directly in front of me. Let me pull it up.
I do.
Okay, so basically we took the largest one out there. We used the multiplier and gave that maximum.
Okay, I talked to Chris before the meeting and got linear feet, and it is nowhere near 200 feet.
Oh, okay. Well, when I talked to Chris,
Oh, but
last
this was only for the hotel, because I think the hotel can have its own. I think that they should be separated. The hotel should have its own square footage, and the retail can have its own square footage.
and that's why we wanted to bring it to Plan Commission, because this is a PUD and because this is a rather large project. There's going to be a number of signs that he's going to want. So I wanted to make sure we got an official answer from the commission.
And can I just get clarification, please? You have 3 addresses on the agenda. Is this for all 3 addresses or just Mill Road? Does this take off Bayshore Drive?
So your question is pertaining to which address is the Door Hotel going to be using?
No, I'm confused. I'm wondering if we have 3 signs because we have 3 addresses, and I just did the calculation on my phone. So is it just 2 additional signs, one for retail and one for the hotel on Mill Road, and Bayshore Drive is done? We're all good with that.
It would be multiple signs for the hotel facing Bayshore Drive and on the Mill Road entrance. And then there would be a separate one for the retail, if the retail is going to be counted separately.
So can you explain the calculation then? The calculation that you just gave us would just be for the hotel.
And the retail, I did both of them. I combined both of them, which would give us over 200 feet of a front facade. And the facade would be facing Bayshore Drive.
And Bo, did you also mention CHOP in there as well with the parking, that they're going to incorporate that in the same signage then? Is that what you were talking about?
To my knowledge, that's what the developer wants to do.
So is that incorporated with the square footage then, or no?
It would have to be, yes.
Okay.
Hey, Mary Kay, I just wanted to maybe clarify. Is it okay if I speak?
Yes, go right ahead, Chris.
So as we come down Bayshore Drive, we'll have one sign for the hotel there. So I guess we'll talk about, a couple different signages. That would be for the hotel on Bayshore Drive. And as you come around, the actual address of the hotel is 2329 Mill Road. So when somebody gets there at the parking lot, the parking entrances, they have a sign there making sure he knows that's where it is. And then once you get up to the hotel, we'd have a sign for you to enter on the building. And so that was kind of our thought of what the signage would be. And I was mentioning on the top part, Jordan, was because I think the Plan Commission approved 20 spots in the parking area for CHOP. So we're gonna have to somehow break that up, saying that, 20, some of these spots are for CHOP, and then the rest of these spots are for the hotel. Or what do we have? We have 52 spots that are for the hotel. So we'll have to identify all that. And so we just want to make sure we're telling people, correct signage that's going to be helpful on parking. And then I think, go ahead.
To clarify something, Chris, I don't know that we have determined how many spots are yet for CHOP. I don't think we've done that.
Okay, maybe I did. I thought I heard it in a meeting, and you're right. I haven't. I thought I saw that come through. I don't know if that was approved yet.
We might have talked about it, but I don't think officially we have done that.
Okay.
And I believe there was also past conversation where it was first come, first serve, that it was not going to be labeled for CHOP. We would give them however many parking spaces we deemed appropriate for what was left over in that parking lot, but that it wasn't going to be placarded in any way, shape, or form specifically for CHOP. It would just go against what they needed to provide, period. And because we still don't have an updated parking code, we don't even know exactly what it is that they need. That's my understanding of the conversations that have taken place in the past.
Okay.
Does any other plan commission remember something different?
I'm recalling what you just said about not specifically listing it for CHOP. Yes, I remember that.
Okay. So more likely than not, you probably will not have to put it on your sign.
Okay. So there there's 3 addresses on there. So 10654 is part of the retail that's on Bayshore Drive. So that's the portion that's by the road. So there'll be some signage there. I don't have anything yet or proposal yet on that. And then 2335 would be in between the parking lot and CHOP, which there's no building there now. Actually, I don't know if we really even need to talk about that now, to be honest. It's really about the hotel right now. Those 3 signs we talked about, one on Bayshore Drive, so as you drive by, you know what it is. As you come into Mill Road, directing parking that you've arrived, and then on the building itself. And then going back to 10654 Bayshore, that on that retail portion, what signage they could use or they have.
Right. Okay. Let's keep the retail out of it. Let's just
Okay.
concentrate on the door.
I don't know if that's prudent or not, because this is a big summer. I think a coming soon sign there is not out of the question, and it is on the agenda. Now, I
No,
just
I
want
just meant to come up with the calculations one at a time. Let's just start with the door hotel.
Well, I'm going to just start with county zoning, which I know you hate, but if you go by different parcels under county zoning, you get a total of 24 square feet.
Oh, Mary Kay, we lost you.
Said with the recommendation.
I lost you there. I didn't hear everything you said.
Can you tell me again what you said for the 3 signs, the total?
So we have the total for all 3 from staff's calculations would be 93.6 square feet.
I'm sorry, I wrote down 83. To me, that seems adequate, more than adequate, and I'm in favor of just going ahead and getting this on the book right now. But
I lost you again, Mary Kay. I didn't hear what you said.
Oh, I said I thought 93 for the 3 was more than adequate, considering if it was under county, it would be about 72. You get 1 on each parcel. No different than the realtor's rules. You can have 1 sign on each platted parcel. So if you've come up with these calculations and this is a staff recommendation for all 3, I think that we should have it on the books that the retail is also per se, getting included at this point in time.
Okay. Denise, did you mention that you had different calculations? Is that with or without the retail?
I talked to Chris before the meeting. and what it states in the code is that the area of each building signage shall be the lineal feet of the front of the building multiplied by the story factor. You know, under the sign code. And according to the multiplier, we only have multipliers that go up to 3 stories. Chris's building is 4. So basically it's roughly about 108 feet, and that's the inside of each wing, measured from the inside, like if you were in the green space. So that is what you would see from Mill, that is what you would see from Bayshore, one of each of those wings. And so then if you would take that, let's say you round it up to the 110 feet and you multiply it by 69, just for the hotel, he would be allowed 75.9 square feet just for the hotel.
Wow.
And that's for a 3-story. You know, so I don't even know what to do, you know, with a 4-story building. I mean, we had that conversation. I remember when the library wanted to put on signage that faced Bayshore so that people would know where it was, and even though they had other signage out front. So any particular developer, depending upon the square footage that they are allowed, can break it up into basically as many signs as what they want. The only criteria would be is that no one sign can be larger than 24 square feet. And ground signs can't be higher than 8 feet. Everything just needs to be 10 feet from side, front, and rear yards. You know, those are really the only conditions. So I don't know what to do, because Chris has a 4-story building. I don't know what. I think he should be entitled to what he's entitled to according to the code, but because there is no calculation for a 4-story, do we just base it on the 3 and just for the hotel then that he's allowed about 76 square feet?
That's where staff was having some complications as well, as we don't have the 4-story marker, and so we were trying to figure out what's fair for Chris and the 4-story hotel. So if those are the calculations that you came up, I think staff understands that.
You know, and then I think the retail aspect, those are 1-story buildings. It's an easy measurement, the linear footage. It's 1-story, and you get the calculation, you know, right there. That's, I don't think there has to be a whole lot of conversation, but I really think that they should be deemed separate. The only thing about retail is there might be some additional requirements depending upon how it's laid out, and if they want one big sign and then some small placards, you know, on the building itself, or, you know, whatever. But that, to me, the retail part of it is much easier to figure out than the hotel. But that's the calculation that I'm coming up with just for the hotel. So Mary Kay is thinking very different than I am. So I guess I'd be interested to hear what any other Plan Commission members feel, or Mary Kay respond to my line of thinking.
Denise, your argument does make perfect sense. I mean, I'm not opposed to it. I was basically just commenting before. Again, I don't think signage is finalized at this point in time. So, you know, we really haven't seen anything. And I know we went through all of this with CHOP. So, you know, and that turned out very tasteful. I'm just trusting that, you know, Chris has a good idea about what he's doing and that he will work with the village. And I'm also going to take the recommendation of you and staff. I'm just saying that, you know, because I come from a different background, I do sometimes see things differently.
Sure, sure. Marge?
Oh, I
George?
was thinking, I like the idea of just sticking with the hotel tonight and that signage. When the other buildings are being built and they're up and they're ready to go, then we talk about their signage, which should be, as you pointed out, quite simple. But for tonight, let's talk about the hotel. Seems to me that gives him the calculation you came up with. Was it what, 71?
Almost 76 feet.
Almost 76 square feet. If Chris is satisfied with that, that seems to me gives him a lot of options of how he can use it on the hotel and as directional. So I'd go with that.
I'm on the same page with that. I agree.
Chris, how do you feel?
Well, the one thing I want to bring up is and I want to jump in on the retail part because the retail is in the building. So it's the hotel. There is retail that will be part of the building right now. So that on the end wing on the first floor, there's retail there. So that's the part where we're trying to figure out. We'll have signage for the hotel, and there also is a retail in the building that's going to have an address of 10654. I think that's the address. I think Bo.
Okay.
Oh,
That's the retail you were talking about. I think I'm going to speak
I
for.
know. Yeah.
I think we're talking about 3 units actually on Bayshore.
yeah, that's what I thought we were talking about.
Right.
Okay.
That's what I was thinking as
Because
well.
that is in part of the hotel and part of the linear feet, that you can determine how much you want to give them of that 76 square feet.
Okay.
Sure.
Chris, is that going to be a big neon Chanel sign on
Oh,
the side?
absolutely. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Big neon sign. Yep.
Fire coming out of it.
You guys are okay with the searchlights, right? That's fine.
I apologize. I thought we were talking about the 3 retail components up front.
That's
No.
what we all were, I think.
No, I'm sorry about that. I should have clarified that. So, yeah, so you have the 3 addresses. The one address is in the building. The 2335, there's no building there. And then the 2329 is the address of the hotel.
Right. Okay. Yeah. The empty lot right now, we can't
Right.
do.
Yeah, we're not talking about that. Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Great. No, I think that gives us, I appreciate, the feedback and we'll just give direction because that's all I was looking for. Just, what do we look for? So it's going to be under 8 feet high.
That's if it's a ground sign.
Okay.
Yeah, Chris, if you start conceptualizing, like creating plans for signs, just bring it to me and I can help explain to you the ordinances from the village on each
Perfect.
individual signs. But yeah, I guess the big thing here is your maximum allowable is 76 square feet
Okay.
for that, all the signs combined.
Now, if they say, well, I mean, if somebody comes back and there's a really amazing sign that I think everyone would be tasteful, because that's under the 3-story code, is there some room there? And I don't know if it is. I'm just asking. If someone
Well,
says,
and of course, as a developer, you would go there.
well, you got to ask, right?
You gotta push.
But what's the difference? What's the multiplier between 2-story and 3-story? What's the difference?
It's not a lot. It's about half a percentage point.
Could we just grant him that for the 4th story, that same change in multiplier?
That's a good point.
So what would that give him?
So then if you did a half a percentage point, that would be 0.74. So then 110 feet divided by 74 is 81.4 square feet. So that's a great idea, Scott.
Thank you.
So then, then that would give you a few more square feet, but then that would be your max, Chris.
Okay, so that's going to be for that building, the hotel building.
Yes.
81.4. The retail in there, that's all encompassing. Okay.
Yep.
Great.
Yep.
Thanks for the guidance. I appreciate it.
Okay. That's it?
That's it.
Good enough? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Chris.
Good job, Scott. That was helpful.
Thank you.
It makes me mad I didn't think of that though, Scott.
Take a nap.
Okay, item number 2, preliminary review of a revised site plan, revised lighting plan, landscaping plan, parking plan. Part of it I can't read. Site maintenance plan, floor plan, building elevation drawings for Tapawat Brewing Company. Okay, Bo?
Yeah. So once again, I'll just do an oral report. Okay. So with this project, I'm just moving this over. Going down here. So staff has been working with the developer here in the Tapawat Brewery for quite some time here. We've been going back and forth on a number of different plans, drawings, and locations. And there were some issues arising with the DOT on the original location on which this project was approved. And the developer is looking to go back onto the original site, which I believe has been brought to Plan Commission in the past on Orchard Drive. And so the plans that are being presented to you are from Alliance, and that's who the developer is using on this site. And what they want to do is, before they go ahead and create a CSM to divide that property on its own plot of land and come up with the setbacks, they wanted to bring to Plan Commission these site plans on the new property, and to bring a discussion about what needs to get changed or if everything looks okay, and just drive that discussion before they go ahead and spend the money to get the plans finalized and everything else detailed. So I don't know if you need me to bring it up here, and I can scroll
Yes,
through
please.
for the discussion. Let me.
So when you were talking about a CSM, let's start there. Do Devleys own all the property around the site?
Yeah, they own like 42 acres, don't they?
Denise and Bo, I'm going to quickly ask, I don't think I have a conflict of interest. I have no vested interest in Tapua. I have sold them all of the property, including the Kramer property, the Hull property next to them, and the patio property, which is now the kitchen. I have no vested interest in this development in any way, shape, or form. If you feel I should recuse myself, I will.
No.
To answer your question, Devely owns the surrounding properties on the eastern side of Orchard, and someone else owns the property across from Orchard, Paula Hedin.
Okay, so can you scroll down another page or so? Okay, that's good there on that page. So we see kind of a white square, that kind of to the right of their current driveway. So everything to the right of that, they own also?
Correct.
Correct.
Okay, and what is that currently zoned?
That is zone B1.
That is also all B1. Okay. I just needed to make sure that they were not, or what they wanted to CSM was not going to butt up to residential, because then that would create a whole bunch of more criteria.
No, it does not.
Okay. Good deal. Did you want to continue talking, Bo?
I can, just a little bit. So we were going back and forth with the DOT on the previous site. There's a number of ongoing discussion with staff and engineers about the utilities side of things. So that's not a part of this discussion just yet. I don't think staff has finalized details, and they don't have a plan yet because we're going back and forth on that. So this one is just the site plan, the lighting plan, the landscaping plan. There's a building plan involved there, parking plan. So that's just for the discussion now. And then if they, get the okay to go ahead and do a CSM on this, you guys are comfortable with this project and where it's positioned, we as staff will continue to finalize the utilities plans and anything else needed for this.
I'm curious, why is this a totally different building in look than the previous one?
Yeah, we really went through, and there's obviously a budget that we're trying to stay within to make this project feasible. So the option that we're going with here is scaling back, getting this space functional so that they can increase their production out of here, get a few of the features that they need, and still do it within budget.
And I take it
Am I
this,
on? Is this, can you hear me?
Yeah, Nick, we can hear you.
oh yeah. we
Okay,
can-
I didn't know I was on mute before. I mean, and to put it plain and simple, I don't want a retention pond. So we got the project under an acre.
Oh, okay. All right.
Smart.
And I take it it's the black building on this
Correct,
drawing.
yes.
Okay. All right.
I don't know if you can see my mouse, but I'm kind of going around the
Yeah,
property.
I can see that.
Yep.
Is this a metal building?
Yes, this would be a pre-engineered metal building.
Marge, think Sequest Orchards, their production facility next to the actual farm market. Think of all the modern farmhouse building that's going up right now. Very similar to me.
Yeah, you're right about the Sequest. Thank you for giving me that picture. And I take it we'd approve colors and siding and all that at a later meeting or not?
Correct. Yeah, this none of this is finalized. I don't know if the colors or anything will change in a future meeting. So this is just what they presented thus far.
So the building's going to be black?
Dark gray?
Yeah, it's not black.
It is, okay.
Yeah, it's like a dark gray with a galvanized. The dark gray would have a vertical like lines in the panel, and the lighter would be like a galvanized corrugated panel that would run horizontal to break up all of that.
Okay.
And this is not in the downtown district, so I even if it was black, I mean, I see so much black going up in Bailey's Harbor. And Bailey's Harbor seems to be doing it well. It's set so far back from 57, and off of Orchard that, you'll catch a glimpse of it basically as you're driving by. I think it will be very tasteful. I think the lines are clean and modern, and they fit in with everything we've been trying to do.
Well, I'm in favor of this because I think what they're trying to do is wonderful. Okay, I'm just trying to clarify in my head what I'm looking at. Okay.
Yeah, I agree with Mary Kay about the look and the color. I think it'll look very nice for what they have so far.
So the other thing I do want to point out, and I'm going to try and get to it, and the developer understands this. This will have to be paved and improved for the vehicular traffic that's going to be coming in and out of this brewery. And the other thing to note, this isn't an open for public brewery. This is a distribution manufacturing facility. So the parking is sufficient for what they require.
Okay.
So when a sign said on that curved portion tea house, there is no public going in there?
No.
Okay, that was one of my questions. Can somebody from Alliance clarify on the plan exactly how many parking spaces are drawn?
See, I thought I had that on there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's 11 total spaces.
Okay.
And then one of those would be considered ADA accessible.
Okay. And you have one loading and unloading space?
There's 2 loading and unloading spaces. There would be the dock ramp, the loading dock for large trucks, and
Okay.
then there's the overhead door that's just its own back up to it at grade.
Okay. All right, because you need 2 according to the size of the building.
Yes, and there's 2 of them,
Okay, excellent. So
as
that's
well as a dumpster enclosure.
okay. According to the zoning code, You would need 14 parking spaces for the size of the building, plus one for every employee.
I was under the impression through the zoning code as it read that depending on what the occupancy class of the building was, and this would be considered light manufacturing, making a below 16% alcohol beverage, that you would need one per employee plus two. And they anticipate not having any more than 8 employees on any given shift.
Okay, I don't know where you read that, but that's not in Sister Bay's parking code.
I'd have to do a little.
Why are you all going to make me put 22 parking spaces in when I have 5 employees that work at one shift at Tapawat? The public will not be there.
I'm not going to make you do that, but we have to have the conversation according to the code, Nick. The Plan Commission can reduce the amount of parking, but under the light assembly and light manufacturing uses, it says that 1 space per employee for the work shift with the largest number of employees, plus 1 space for every 500 square feet. So if I read the plan right, you had, the building was 7170 square feet. And if you divide that by 500, that brings it to 14.3 spaces. Now, the Plan Commission can do a reduction if you do not need it, because there is not retail or whatever, but it's still a conversation that we have to have and agree upon if we want to reduce that amount of parking, and it would have to be part of the motion as we move along. That's the reason that I'm bringing it up, Nick. I would not make you put in extra. No one wants to make you put in more parking than what you actually need.
Thank you.
Okay. So, okay, and you said 8 employees at a time. So according to the code, you would need 22 spaces, which seems ridiculous. And you are, you have 11 and you have 8 employees, so you have 3 additional. So then, at least at this point in time, is there general consensus that we would reduce the amount of parking for this development?
I would go along with that, yes.
Sure, as long as it's just a production space, they're not going to have anybody visiting it, you know, to tour it kind of thing.
Agreed.
I think it needs to be revisited in the future. I mean, we're seeing space for more. Should it exceed? Should production exceed? If they have to hire, you know, let's keep our fingers crossed on that. But it looks as though there's room for additional parking. Am I wrong? Am I not seeing that correctly?
No, I'd agree with you on that.
Well, here's something else to keep in mind. If we were to ever do a tour in the future, the idea would be that people would go to our juice bar, and if you were to have to sign up or do whatever, the tour would start at the juice bar and it would walk over. And I mean that. We definitely, I've been staunch about this for almost 10 years. We don't let the public in our facility, and if we start to, it would be under a very specific tour idea. And like I said, the employees would be gone on that day. We could either use that parking lot, or more than likely we would use our large juice bar parking lot, and we would walk across the yard to the brewery. But at this point, there is absolutely no plan for the public in our facility.
Okay.
Thanks, Nick.
Yep.
So just to clarify, we don't need any motions on this tonight. It was just a discussion. And if you were all comfortable with doing so, the developer will begin the process of a CSM and then provide the village with the rest of the final plans to be viewed at a future meeting.
I'm not quite done, Bo.
Okay.
Do we have any issues? They're proposing to use the same driveway that goes back to the house, which I think is smart, and I want to see that done. Are there any issues that they are going to face with that driveway on the curve?
As far as I'm aware, no. But they just have to do.
In Marge, you remember Vacation Land Farms?
Oh,
And-
good grief, yes. My kids
So-
love that spot.
Exactly. You know, you're talking a much lower density than that.
Right, right.
Correct.
That was
Yeah,
a
this
big
would just have to
choice.
be improved for the trucks. That's all we'd require.
Okay.
And the reason why I asked Alliance to do it the way they did, and I mean, it's one of the big reasons why we moved back away from the 2.3 acres and over to the empty field again where it was originally proposed, is the ability to have a truck come in. My wife and I have been dedicated to the idea of not cutting trees down and keeping as little amount of concrete, cement, blacktop as possible to our project. So by utilizing the shared driveway, which there is an easement in place through the B1 commercial, it basically cuts the amount of surface space that we were going to have to use over at the other site, probably down at least by half. I mean, Marcus and Tom can speak to this better than me, but am I close to that? Where that's why we were over an acre, because of all of the concrete for the semi. Is that
Yeah.
accurate, Tom?
That's correct.
So the hope is, and Bo had brought this up earlier, that we can utilize the driveway. And Denise, it sounds like you're in favor, but Bo wasn't sure about how that would work with, I know I have to pave it and, make it 10 feet and, make it all user friendly, which it's not right now. But my hope is that we can utilize that to keep our stuff under an acre.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's great. It's smart planning. And the last question then that I had that I really couldn't tell from the plans, and that I'm hoping is there or that Alliance will draw in, is if there's any landscaping between the building and the parking lot, a 3-foot buffer where you could plant shrubs, some small trees, some flowers if necessary, something to, I know that you have broken up the facade, with the 2 different colors and the light grays going horizontal, the dark grays going vertical or whatever, but is that landscaping along parking building? Is that what you were zooming into to show me, Bo?
Yeah, that's just part of their landscaping plan. I didn't want to interrupt you, but they do have in some new additional trees that are going to be going on between the orchard and the building.
Okay, those I saw, and street trees, that's great. So you do, I just can't see it really well on the plan. So there is something between the building and the parking lot that will be landscaped.
Yes, and what you're seeing when you're looking at this in plan view, as from a bird looking straight down, you're seeing the roof and the outline that roof is going to be taking up on the property. But there's an eave on that roof, and you don't see the brown and green strip between the parking lot and the wall of the building.
Okay.
But we will have an official landscape plan done by whoever wins that contract.
Okay, excellent. That's good news. If the roof is covering the majority of that, how do you plan on getting natural rainwater down to the plants?
It'll get rainwater. That eave is 20 some feet up in the air.
Okay.
It'll get rained on.
Okay. All right. Those were all my questions, and they have been answered.
Okay, so now for the minutes, I need some clarification, please. It was a consensus that at this time, it would be appropriate to reduce the amount of required parking spaces for the new building to how many?
11.
11?
What they are presenting.
Okay, spaces, which is what has been presented.
Correct.
Okay. It was also the consensus that it would be appropriate for the Devilies to utilize their existing driveway for the new building on the condition that that driveway is compliant with all village regulations.
Yes.
Okay. And then I also have that an official landscaping plan will be submitted at a later date.
Yep.
Is there anything else?
No, because we haven't really seen a lighting plan per se. So I would say that would be at a later date, but that's pretty minor when we're talking about the site plan.
Do you want to say that at this time you grant preliminary approval of the plans that were presented tonight?
Yes.
Okay.
And hey, Tom, just to pop in there again, the lighting is going to be very minimal, correct? The idea is to not have much lighting other than what's necessary.
Correct.
Correct.
Downlighting and you're not producing at night. So
Yeah, yeah, downlighting,
We'll have-
we'll make sure it complies with dark sky.
Okay.
So now the next step then is to bring in the CSN paperwork, right?
Correct.
Okay.
And I will move on that as soon as, like Bo said, the planning, or not the planning, but the finance folks figure out what works and doesn't work.
Good luck with that, Nick.
Oh yeah, I know.
So do you have the motion written, Janelle?
Well, I just had the consensus. Do you want a motion?
We don't need one, do we, at this point?
I think it would probably be best for Nick with financing and especially because he's going to draw up a CSM, that we have an official motion that we are approving a preliminary, the plan that was presented.
Okay, so then I can do that easily enough. So I've got a motion was made by and seconded by that the Plan Commission grants preliminary approval for all of the revised plans for Topawat Brewing Company, which were reviewed at this meeting. It was the consensus that at this time it would be appropriate to reduce the amount of required parking spaces to 11 spaces as depicted on the plans. And it was also the consensus that it would be appropriate for the Devilees to utilize their existing driveway for the new building on the condition that it is compliant with village regulations.
I so move.
Motion by Gretzmacher,
Second.
second by Hartwig. Any further discussion? All those in favor respond with an aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thanks, Nick and Alliance.
Thank you, folks.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Have a good night.
You too.
Bye.
Bo, you can just read the next agenda. Oh, okay. Item 3, discussion regarding the preliminary plat for Shoreview Condominium 2, which was submitted by Gary Wiesa. For parcel number 181423000D, which property has been assigned an address of 10601 Shoreview Place and is referred to as the old schoolhouse property, and review of resolution number 425.
Correct.
Oh.
Yep. So this is a continuation on the old school projects that we've seen. The developer Chris Schmeltz for the 2 condos has gone through the process already and gotten his approvals. Gary Wiesa is using or utilizing this for the condos, the duplex that'll be on the front of the property. So he's just beginning his process for the preliminary plat and getting everything approved.
So we would need a motion to recommend resolution number 425 to the village board.
Correct.
I'll make that
We
motion.
also want to impose a condition that before occupancy permits can be issued, all required condo docs have to be recorded.
Yes, that's what I said, Janelle.
Okay.
I'll
I thought
second
I
it.
heard that.
So motion by Berto. Is there a second?
I seconded it.
Second by Baker. All in favor, respond with an aye.
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 Opposed? Carried. Okay, item 4, report by the zoning administrator. What you got, Bo?
Yeah, once again, this is oral. Hopefully we'll get it down on paper at the next meeting now that I have a little more time to spare. Right now, everything's pretty quiet as far as activity goes with businesses. Everyone has been compliant with the orders that have been given from the village. We've had a few people call and just ask, if there's any update or changes, but for right now, it's been pretty quiet. We've had some activity. I did take a stroll through the sports complex on the weekend just to see how it was, because it seemed pretty busy downtown. And I thought it was interesting to note that there were some people playing Frisbee golf, and they were social distancing and wearing masks. There was a few people in the dog park all scattered around. I'd say 3 or 4 people, all on different sides of the property. And some people in the parking lot sitting outside of their cars, just meeting with one another from a safe distance. I think there was at least 3 spots between all vehicles. So just something I found really interesting, that, you know, people are following the social guidelines while still trying to utilize village property. But other than that, there's been nothing new to report at this time.
Okay, excellent. So item 5, matters to be placed on a future agenda.
So your next regular meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, May 26th at 5:30. Do you want to leave that one on?
I would say yes, because we probably will be getting plans from the Top Lot Brewery to proceed.
Okay.
And then we've got the special.
Considering right now that that's the date that the order will be lifted, will we be meeting by Zoom, do you think, still?
Correct. Yes. Well, I have a feeling we will probably be doing these Zoom meetings for a few months after this.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, if there's nothing else, is there a motion to adjourn?
I so move.
I'll second.
Motion by Gretzmacher, second by Baker. All those in favor respond with an aye.
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 Opposed, carried. Thank you, everyone.
Good night, everybody.
Goodbye.